Hey guys, my name is Keagan Chaffey. I'm a fourth year medical or Game 2 student, and I did a BHSC from 2016 to 2018 in human anatomy or biology, and that 3002 is the course code. So the first half of the year consists of forensic anthropology, which is quite a big section on, or has quite a big section on osteology. And then that's followed by human evolution and human evolutionary anatomy as you move through the year. And the second half of the year consists of a research section, which takes you through a lot of research statistics, and then you end off the year with a research protocol. And you can make the choice on the subject or the topic that you wish to do the protocol on. I wanted to always get into medicine from matric, and I heard a lot of interesting things about this major from students above me concerning the workload and also the interesting topics, which I found to be quite attractive. And to everyone's surprise, I did actually enjoy anatomy in second year, so that also probably drove me to choosing this major. So some of the pros are that the workload really isn't too bad. It's quite a weight lifted off your shoulders from second year, which is quite a daunting year itself. And then another pro would be, I'd say, is that the course focuses on a lot of skeletal anatomy and gives a lot of background on the pathophysiology of certain skeletal fractures, which may be quite helpful going forward in your later years in clinical medicine, understanding and recognizing many of these fractures. Another pro is that the forensics aspect of this course isn't just interesting, but it also provides and highlights some aspects which may be relevant in medicine as well, specifically with regards to pathologies and just recognizing certain causes of death as well in certain patients. Lastly, I'd say it provides quite a good base of research knowledge and statistics, which is really important going forward into any health sciences profession. And yeah, that'll become quite evident as you make your way through, be it medicine, be it honors, and so on. Some of the cons, I can't really think of many. I'd say attending lectures on main campus, specifically in winter, got really cold. And then obviously running back and forth between main campus and medical campus was a bit of a mission. But other than that, no. So I definitely pick this course again. I really did enjoy it, and physiology. The reason I say that is because a lot of my colleagues in medicine have oftentimes said how much physiology complements the workload that we cover in medicine. And that's specifically just obviously relevant to me because I'm a medical student, but I think it just gives you a broad base of health sciences knowledge going into any field. And I know medicine deals with a lot of physiology, so that gives you a really good base and understanding. I can't answer this question too well, unfortunately, because I chose to go into medicine. But I would imagine opportunities specifically in forensic anthropology and forensics in general, as well as research opportunities in human evolutionary biology. So I'd say the biggest impact it's had on my education would be giving me a solid base for research and research statistics applicable in the health sciences field. To a lesser extent, as previously mentioned, it gave me a good base of knowledge in skeletal anatomy and the pathophysiology regarding fractures and certain landmarks on certain bones, etc. So overall, I'd say it's a really interesting course and it's really well managed and planned. We're also extremely privileged at WITS to have such experienced lecturers teaching us and such passionate lecturers teaching us. So it's really easy to excel in this course and to enjoy it at the same time. And obviously third year is a lot easier than second year. Everybody says it. And you need to grab all opportunities with both hands and really just make the most of any assessment, assignment, because it'll not only benefit you, but it'll open up many doors going forward in future in the health sciences profession, medicine, or whatever you may choose to do. Cool, and that's it from me. But yeah, I hope this has shed some light on the choices you guys want to make regarding your majors. And yeah, feel free to contact me through the Tsebo. And yeah, thanks for giving me this opportunity to speak about human biology. But all the best, guys, and stay safe.
Hi, my name is Kimon Nicolaides, and when I was in BHSC 3, I majored in human biology, otherwise known as ANAT 3002 or Macro ANAT. The course is a full-year course spanning all 4 blocks. Each block covers a different topic. Block 1 focuses on human skeletal biology, with the main focus being forensic anthropology. Block 2 is known as the human legacy, where you study evolution and biological anthropology. Block 3 focuses on human biodiversity and an introduction to research methods and statistics. Block 4 is purely dedicated to your research project, which is a protocol project. There are 2 exams that you have to write, both the June exam and the November exam, and 1 spot exam at the end of Block 1. The course also has a full-time lab component, which you cover in every single block, and it's 1 day every week. The human biology course is a very good course if you wish to maximize your marks. This was one of the main reasons that attracted me to human biology. I had a desire to get into medicine, and I also really enjoyed anatomy. I enjoyed anatomy from its clinical perspective. So when I was told about human biology, I was still intrigued, and I could see myself really dedicating my time to the subject. This subject also gives a very good introduction to the human body, which you can continue into your honors should you choose to pursue scientific research. It gives you an into most of the honors programs, including physiology, anatomy, as well as pharmacology and physiology, should you so choose. But as I said, the main reason was to maximize my marks, because human biology is a subject where, with hard work and a lot of studying, you can really engage with the work and do extremely well to boost your average. The course is set up in a very structured manner with excellent lecturers that are more than willing to help you should you be struggling with the course, and they're always available for consultation times. The course itself is not too content heavy, but it keeps you busy enough that you aren't bored, because in your 3rd year you do have a little bit more time to study. The only con I can really think of when it comes to human biology is sometimes the lectures and test marks are uploaded a little bit late, but we can all deal with that as students. Human biology has not really had a major impact on my medicine knowledge and the knowledge I gained during my medical career or my medical studies, because clinical anatomy comes from 2nd year BHSC, but it really benefited me from the research perspective, because my research supervisor, as well as the lecturer who taught the content, really emphasized our knowledge on statistics, statistical methods, and research methods, which is vital for your GEM2 research project, and it really, really benefited me. If I was to go back in time, I would choose human biology again. I really enjoyed my time in the course, and I really engaged with the topics that we were taught. I would probably boost my knowledge even further by taking physiology, because I would be familiar with the work and it would benefit me more going into medicine than most of the other topics available. And it also gives you a great introduction to other honors research, to other honors programs such as genetics, which wouldn't necessarily be available from the human biology perspective.
My name is Lungelo Mahlangu, and I'm a pharmacology honors student. I chose pharmacology as a major in my 3rd year, and the reason I did that honestly was purely based on interest. When I was trying to figure out which major to do, I spoke to a lot of 3rd years at the time who were doing different majors, and of those students, the pharmacology students just piqued my interest. I was intrigued by what they were doing, and that's how I landed up in pharmacology. In retrospect, it was probably a good decision. What are the pros and cons of doing pharmacology? A pro is the fact that pharmacology is a pretty innovative field. There's definitely a lot of new research and new drug developments that are coming out, and that keeps the course interesting because those things are incorporated into the course. As far as studying goes, pharmacology is pretty straightforward. It's not tricky in any way. The best way to describe it is what it is. yeah, the biggest con that I experienced though was the fact that nothing in my second year prepared me for pharmacology. None of the modules or topics that I did, or courses rather, that I did in my second year prepared me for pharmacology, honestly, because none of them were related to pharmacology. So when I got into pharmacology, I was intimidated by everything. Everything seemed new, nothing was familiar, it was overwhelming, it felt like I was starting over, it was a new, different world, you know. So I think that was the biggest con that I experienced when doing pharmacology. But after settling in, everything turned out okay, just took a bit of time. If I could go back in time and pick two majors, I'd probably pick pharmacology and physiology, only because it just makes sense in my head. Because what pharmacology is essentially, it's studying what drugs do to the body and what the body does to the drug. And I think physiology would have been a good complement to pharmacology, so I probably would have picked physiology. What opportunities or jobs were available for me after getting my degree? After getting my degree, I didn't really look into opportunities out there, only because I was pretty set on doing my honors degree. But now that I'm doing my honors degree, I've done a lot of research on my own, and what I've noticed is that there are a lot of learning opportunities related to pharmacology, both locally and internationally. Another thing that I noticed is that most of the skills that I gained from doing pharmacology as a major are skills that a lot of pharmaceutical companies are looking for, which is pretty cool. Like I said, I am doing my honors degree in pharmacology, and how my academic program is set up, I have two courses. The first one is theory-based, and the second one is research-based. With the research course, we currently have 4 major projects that we need to do, and out of the 4, we have one major year-long project. And based on the topic that you're allocated, that's what your research will be for the year. Both courses run throughout the whole year, from beginning of the year to the end of the year. And yeah, that's basically how my academic program is set up right now. How has pharmacology as a major benefited me in doing my honors degree? So the fact that I did pharmacology as a major made the transitioning into the honors degree much smoother for me. It was a pretty easy transition because I was already familiar with the department. I had the basics from doing pharmacology in my third year, so I could only take my knowledge of things to the next level by doing my honors degree. But yeah, the biggest or the most significant thing was the fact that the transitioning from undergrad to postgrad was much smoother because I did pharmacology as a major, and now I'm doing pharmacology in my honors. And I think the last question is tips and advice. This goes for any major. The biggest tip or advice I can give you is to research the majors that you're thinking of doing, talking to people who have actually done those majors and figuring out if it's something that you'd actually be interested in doing, finding out what is required in the major and stuff like that. And should you find yourself doing pharmacology as a major, my biggest advice is patience and consistency, because like I said, pharmacology was a new world for me. So I think by practicing patience and consistency, I was able to get settled in and cope with pharmacology. So yeah.
I'm Tsebo Marwe, and I did my honors degree in experimental and clinical pharmacology. So I took pharmacology as a major in my third year of my undergrad degree. And I chose pharmacology because we hadn't really been exposed to pharmacology before then. We had been exposed to molecular medicine, physiology, human anatomy, but I still wasn't sure what pharmacology was, and at the time I was really interested in the way that drugs worked in the human body, and so I thought it would be a really great challenge. In addition to that, because I was obviously trying to get into medicine, and pharmacology or drugs being such a huge part of medicine, I thought it would really put me in good stead once I started studying medicine. But other than that, there really were a lot of career opportunities in pharmacology. So even though you weren't looking to get into medicine, there was still so much that you could do with a qualification in pharmacology, and those are things like research and drug development, quality control and regulatory affairs, environmental drug testing, safety and compliance to drug laws. You could do law or journalism, clinical trial. You could become a clinical trial scientist, you could do patent work, you could become a toxicologist, you could become a pharmaceutical sales rep, and obviously you could get into medicine. But again, that these are career opportunities that aren't open to people with undergrad pharmacology. So you would need to have an honors degree, a master's, or a PhD in pharmacology. So now I will talk a little bit about the honors degree in pharmacology. So the honors degree in pharmacology is divided into the biosciences and health sciences track. The biosciences track being for graduates who don't have exposure to undergrad pharmacology, and the health sciences track being offered to graduates who have exposure to undergrad pharmacology. Minimum requirements are greater than 65% as your average in your third year of your undergrad degree, and that's obviously to BHSC or BSc students. To those who are trying to get into the health sciences track, you need to have gotten at least 65% for pharmacology in particular or specifically in your undergrad, and then your overall average should be greater than 65. So the actual course itself is divided into the theory component as well as your research component, and these will run continuously throughout the end of the year. So your theory content is composed of what we call current therapies, and these current therapies are just merely a build on from what you learned in undergrad. So the expectation again being that you know every single thing that you learned in undergrad, and now you're ready to build on onto that knowledge. And then you have your special topics in pharmacology, and your special topics in pharmacology will look at, but is not limited to, immunotherapies, as well as prescribing in special population. In the research component, which is a bit heavy, will be composed of malaria research, new therapies in cancer, toxicology, biochemical and molecular pharmacology, chemical pharmacology, novel drug screening and testing. So this is like where we develop novel drugs, like new drugs, and we screen and test them. Pharmacovigilance and pharmacoeconomics, bioequivalent studies, which are very interesting considering we are in the age of fixed drug combinations, particularly for HIV, and TB. We look at neuropharmacology, sports medicine, evidence-based medicine, as well as therapeutic drug monitoring. So yeah, I think I've covered all the important things. Pharmacology is really interesting, and it's such a broad field, and there are a lot of career opportunities available to anyone who wants to do pharmacology. So you actually don't have to be trapped working or doing academic work, for example, or you don't have to become a doctor. There's really a lot that you can do with a qualification in pharmacology. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of hard work, but I think with determination, and if you have an actual approach, to studying it, you'll really enjoy it, and it is a fruitful experience.
Hi everyone, my name is Camilla Ngobeni. I did medical cell biology as my third year major. So it's divided into 4 blocks. The first 3 are course content, the last one is research based. So this is when you get to do your research proposal, your research project, and all the presentations and stuff. It's very fun. So for the first block, the topics we did were embryology and toxicology. The second block we did cancer. The last block we did neuroscience as well as the reproductive system. So the $1 million question, why did I choose medical cell biology? So in second year I did anatomy, physiology, molecular medicine, as well as FHD. My highest mark at the end of the year was molecular medicine. So logically it made sense for me to do more med because I wanted to get high marks so I could get into an honors program that I wanted, or possibly get into GIMP. It had interesting topics, but I enjoyed anatomy in second year a lot. which is weird. The only problem I had with it was like the amount of work that we had to like get through, but I really enjoyed the content and everything of it. So MCP made sense to me. The topics they had, I loved. So it was a hard decision to make. It was either following my head or my heart. So within my last hour of having to like choose, my mom said to me I should do something that I know I will enjoy, something that I'm passionate about, and that's why I chose medical cell biology. So in terms of the pros, obviously, like I said, it's because I really enjoyed the topics. They're very relevant to everything that's happening in the world. Not that the others aren't, but for our research project, I remember we had the topic of Nyaupe for reproductive system. I mean, there's a lot of people dealing with infertility, cancers all around. So the topics I loved them. We also had a lot of free time. So I think on Thursdays in the morning we had one class, and then we had the rest of the day off. Yeah, I think we had one class. So you have a lot of free time, so you get to get through your work and everything. The cons, on the other hand, I feel like the practical aspect of it wasn't as hands-on as I would have wished. Also, the fact that the research project is at the end of the year, it's a bit stressful because now you have to like do everything all at once, you know. It was very hectic. If I could go back in time and choose two majors, it would probably be medical cell biology and molecular medicine, or physiology if I really like had to. But yeah. Also, if I give anyone any form of advice, honestly do follow your heart, because course is difficult. Like whatever you choose, I mean, there's obviously challenges there. So it becomes even more challenging if you're doing something that you don't enjoy, and then things start getting hectic and there's no motivation, there's no nothing. So at least if you have passion, it could back you up, and it will drive you to like, you would obviously want to strive for better. And if you enjoy the course content, I mean, it does the things for you.
Hi guys, my name is Dan Joel Lukumbi, and I did my honors in medical cell biology. And I just want to talk to you about why you should choose this honors program among others. And I just want to start off by saying that it is an honors program that is given by the Department of Anatomy, and essentially it looks at really exciting stuff like your cancer research, your neurosciences, toxicology, embryology, and even reproductive immunology. And so you want to start with the application process, and with that, there's no CV, there's no interview, all the boring stuff. So you just want to worry about the requirements. They want you to have a minimum of 60% for your final year in your previous degree, and you also must have done a course in anatomy. But I advise people to get 65% maybe and above, just to be on the safe side. You know, you don't want a borderline type of performance, because it's quite competitive at the entrance. I mean, there has to be something nice if people are fighting to get into something so bad. So you don't want to miss out, and they usually take 10 people only, and you want to make sure you secure that spot. For the academic program in honors, it is split into two components. There's a research component, and there's also course component. They weigh the same, and you take them throughout the whole year. For the course component, you are basically doing second year histology. Most people had already done it when they did anatomy, so it's really cool. I mean, it relieves the pressure. If you're doing it for the first time, it is still fun, because in honors you have more time compared to the second year, so you really do have the time to appreciate the whole course. The research component, also more fun. I mean, that's what honors is all about. You choose a topic at the beginning of the year in one of the tracks that I mentioned, so either cancer research, or you also can choose in neurosciences, and then you take that throughout the whole year as your research project. So why I chose this honors program, honestly, I've always been interested in cancer research, how a cell, like a normal cell, just wakes up one day and then it's like, nah, I want to do my own things. So it becomes a stranger in your own body, you know. And I really was interested into that. So once they mentioned it in my third year, that, you know, the anatomy department gave the opportunity to do cancer research, I was really excited, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. They focused particularly on cervical cancer and breast cancer. That was for my case. And so in that sense, let's talk about the pros and cons of doing this. There are more pros, though. I'm biased. And so I have to say that it was really an advantage and a good thing to be given the opportunity to be a teaching assistant. It is really fulfilling in the sense that you are helping people get through their degrees, and it's nice whenever you see them, do well, and that you were part of that. Other than that, the department really gets you involved in the activities that they do outside of school stuff. So events like the Maropeng exhibition in my year, we went to the Cradle of Humankind for 2 weeks, and we were there involved in the events, the running of it, and even the preparation for it. You are also given after hours access to the department, and I think that's really nice. About the cons, there aren't many. You could say the job opportunities, but that's general to any honors program. Otherwise, you can still work in sales after your honors, in sales for big companies as a consultant. You can also work as an academic, teaching assistant honors level. You can work as a supervisor at master level, and even lecturer already at that stage. PhDs, you have all these options at the same time, and you have the chance to travel and go to conferences. That's really nice. And you can also work at the NHLS, so the National Health Laboratories. I think that's pretty cool. And there you can work as a lab technician, or you can work for diagnostic purposes. COVID, there we go. So how has this helped me in what I'm doing right now? So I'm doing GEMP 1 currently, and there is pathology, which is similar to histology. So it has helped me a lot in that sense. There's also a lot of embryology. So in that sense, I'm not seeing it for the first time. I have that advantage basically. Words of encouragement. Really, you've got this if you're passionate about any of the tracks that I've mentioned. So neurosciences, cancer, reproductive immunology, people are really interested into that as well. Toxicology, embryology, really that's enough to get you in and get you through. Stay motivated, and I hope this video really helped you in that sense. So this was Danjo for medical cell biology.
Hi everyone, my name is Onthatile Zikhali. I am a medical cell biology honors student at Wits. The reason why I chose medical cell biology and the reason why I chose the project I chose in the first place was that it's the only health science major that did embryology, which is what I love. Absolutely love embryology. So it was the only health science major that did embryology, and then also the only health science honors program that did embryology. Right. So pros and cons. I'll start with the cons. Firstly, because you're doing second year histology, but you're like older or more advanced, I don't know what to call it, but we are expected to TA, right? We're expected to be in the histology lab with the second years and be teaching them along with the actual lecturer, right? Because we need to do that, it eats away at your time, because you need to sit and prepare and study, and you need to know your work and stuff like that before even going in, even though it's what you would have studied anyway, but like, you need to know it in advance, not for an exam, just to teach. So yeah, it's a little bit difficult. It eats away at your time. There's also the fact that for me, I don't know if this is like a con for anyone else, but for me, I found it a little bit difficult that it was so scientific. Like, it was very, very scientific. It was like a deep end type of thing where I was like, this is serious science. So even the lab work and stuff like that is very intensive, very scientific, and it's not something that I had been exposed to in undergrad. So it was like scary. Pros. The fact that you are TAing actually helps, obviously, because you study ahead, you know your work in depth and all of that. So by the time tests roll around, you're chilling, right? There's also the fact that you don't write the final exam with the second years. So by the time October rolls around, you're just focused on your research project, right? The cell biology component of it ends in June. So you don't really need to be studying after June, unless of course you're studying histology. And there is the fact that you're actually doing histology. Like, well, for me, I don't know about anyone else, but for me, the fact that it's histology is amazing. But mostly because it's second year histology, which is something I'd done before. Tips. You choose something that you actually are going to enjoy, something that you actually love. because it makes it all the more easier. I do not struggle with anything embryology related because I'm absolutely fascinated with it. I do not struggle with anything histology related because I absolutely love it, you know. Also, if you are in undergrad and it's January and you haven't heard from anyone, I wasn't told this, but I had to just figure it out. You actually have to email course coordinators, call people, actually physically, well, not physically, but like actively try to reach out to people. Even if you get rejected for anything, it's worthwhile to call people and find out if their programs still have space, because a lot of the time, especially at honors level, people will say they want to do their honors, accept the offer and everything, and then go to camp. So you don't know who's left where, right? So it's worthwhile to actually reach out to people and do all of that.
Hi everyone, my name is Maselesele Anetshelani and I am currently doing my honors in forensics here at VET. So what happens with forensics is they use your June marks. So if you have at least 70% average, they call you guys in for interviews. They call at least 30 to 40 people. And then what happens during the interview sessions is they basically just subject you guys to the mortuary environment. So they take you down for autopsy sessions, they take you down for victim identification sessions, and then that's it. They don't even ask you guys any questions at all. You actually do the asking. So if you want to ask anything related to the course itself, then you can ask them anything you want to know. And then depending on how your interview went and how your final year marks are looking, they basically make you an offer. Obviously, that's how it works. And then if you do decide to take up their offer, then you will be doing research throughout the year. And your research, the research topics that they have are more or less related to the coursework modules that we do. So the coursework modules include forensic anthropology, which basically deals with bones, forensic and investigative psychology, which basically you try to get into the mind of a serial offender, if that makes sense. Forensic entomology, which you basically use insects to try and collect any information related to death of a particular individual. And there's forensic medicine as well. With forensic medicine, it's just the forensic pathology aspect of forensics. And the last one is forensic toxicology. What happens with forensic toxicology is you try to analyze the specimens collected during the autopsy sessions, just to see if there were any toxicological substances that contributed to the death of that particular victim. And back in high school, I had always been fascinated about all those DNAs, all those paternity tests that we did back in high school. So that's when I actually knew that I wanted to study forensics, that part of forensics. But then when I got to varsity, I wasn't really good with the molecular part of biology, so I didn't really go for genetics. And one more thing, they don't do forensic genetics here at VET. So if you really want to do forensic genetics, I would advise that you go to you apply at UFS. Apparently they have a very good program in terms of forensic genetics. However, some of the disadvantages related to the field is forensics is still a developing field, especially in South Africa, here in our country. So like the job opportunities are like really scarce, really hard to get, especially at the SEPS department. But if that doesn't work out, then you could actually source other job opportunities at other forensic labs. Like there are so many labs in Pretoria, in Cape Town, just here behind our mortuary. There are more labs, so you can actually source for jobs that side. Or if you're interested in traveling or going overseas, they have really nice job opportunities overseas, especially at entry levels. So you can actually do that as well. But one advice that I would give you in terms of forensics is you need to be passionate about the field. You need to be really passionate about the field, because your interview may go well, yes, of course, but if you don't love the field itself, if you're not passionate about what they do here, then you won't enjoy whatever we do here at all. And one more thing also, you need to be able to stomach the smell, because the smell is like really bad here. If you think formaldehyde stinks, the thing that they use to preserve those bodies in the anatomy department, think about how a decomposing human being smells like. That's how bad it is. But then overall, it's not a really tough field. If you have the love for it, then you're good to go. And that's it.